And in the midst of all of that, I tend to forget about my own needs. So, what would your advice and guidance be? How does one have a successful professional life while also maintaining a healthy personal life and, taking care of our own wellness?
Well, what we call as ambition is a very constipated expression of fundamental human longing. When I say fundamental human longing, doesn't matter who you are, what you are, you want to be something more than what you are right now. Hello? Hello? Yes or no? If you know money, you're thinking more money. If you know wealth, you're thinking more wealth. If you know power, you're thinking more power. If you know knowledge, you're thinking more knowledge. If you know pleasure, you're thinking more pleasure. Doesn't matter what, currency may be different from person to person, but everybody is longing to be something more. So whatever that something more that you're longing for right now, suppose we fulfill that for you right now, are you fulfilled for life? Hello? No. You want something more, okay, that also will do it. Are you fulfilled? No. That also will fulfill the next one. Are you fulfilled? No. So essentially, you're longing to expand in a limitless way. If you want to become limitless, trying to do it through physical means is a foolish thing to do. Hello? Because the fundamental of physical existence is a defined boundary. We call this a physical body because it has a defined boundary. If I take away all the boundaries of this, it is no more physical, isn't it? So you're longing for something which is boundless through boundaries. Well, life is going to be a frustrating course. It can't be any other way, I'm saying it's fundamentally flawed. So you have a longing to become everything, but your ambition is for something. That's why I'm saying it's constipated. You know constipation means what? It happens, but it happens little by little. Hello? So ambition is a constipated expression of what is a fundamental human longing to expand. So your longing to expand, if you pay attention to it, you will see it is not looking for more, it's looking for all. Hello? When you're looking for all, you can't call that an ambition because you cannot have all in terms of physical having, all right? But you can make everything yours, nobody to stop you. Do you know this? I have made all of you mine, not without your permission. Is that okay? Whether you give me permission or not, I don't care. I've anyway made you mine. Can you stop me? Hello? Can you stop me? No, you think if somebody has to be yours, you have to marry them or you have to beget them or something else must happen. You need a legal paper that they belong to you. No, this planet can be yours, isn't it? Hello? This universe can be yours. It's just a question of, will you allow your consciousness to expand or will you keep it constipated? So first of all, that is ambition. In that, how to balance my personal life and my ambition. See, what you want to do, if it's not your life, why the hell are you doing it? People are always asking how to get work-life balance. I'm saying if what you're doing, your work, if it's not your life, please don't do it. Because if you're reasonably successful in your life, you spend more time with the people with whom you work than your so-called family, yes or no? Day in and day out, you're with them. Maybe only weekends you're seeing family faces Depends what kind of work you're doing, you know But if you're reasonably successful in this world, most of the time you are with people that you work with, isn't it? And if that's not your life, I'm sure it's miserable. It's like, when I first went to United States some 23, 24 years ago, they took me to this restaurant and it said TGIF, whatever. What is it, I asked? Thank God it's Friday. So then I looked into this, where does this come from? Then all the research says, studies show that 70% of the Americans hate the work that they're doing. Hate, not dislike, they hate it. If you are hating what you do for 5 days of the week, you think 2 days will be fantastic? No, it only overdoses. That's all that's happening, because you're doing something that you hate. I'm saying, life is such a limited amount of time. In this, where did you get the time to do something that you hate? Why the hell are you doing something that you hate when life is such a brief happening? When I say life is such a brief happening, before you were born, Ananya, how long were you dead?
Wow. I don't know.
You don't know, endless amount of time probably. And I'll wish you another 100 years.
Thank you.
Because when it comes to death, nobody is negotiating death, we're only negotiating time. Hello? Yes or no? We are not negotiating whether we should die or not. We are negotiating whether it's today or 100 years later, that's all. So I'll give you another 100 years, okay? But after that, when you die, how long will you be dead?
Will I be reborn or…
Don't go into all that. How long will you be dead? Those people who died, how long are they dead? They're just dead forever, all right?
forever?
Yes. So, you are dead for a very long time before you are born and after you die. It's just a brief amount of time that you're here. In this, why the hell are you doing something that you hate? You must be doing something that you love, something that you embrace with the greatest amount of love and affection. Whether it is work or industry or people or whatever nonsense you want to embrace, it's up to you. Hello?
So Guruji, coming to this, I personally have reached a stage where I love most of what I do and I feel very grateful to be in this place. However, I still wonder what's right. So if I can give you an example, let's say my mother's here, so I'm just going to use her as an example. Let's say I have a really important board meeting that I'm chairing tomorrow, and it also happens to be my mom's birthday. Now, the decisions that I make for the company obviously affect so many other people who are working in the company, but it's also my mom's birthday tomorrow and I want to be there for her. Let's say I can only do one.
You can take her to the boardroom and celebrate along with her.
I would love to do… I'm going to do that. That would be great. But what I'm trying to get at is, when things like that come up, what is the right thing to do? Or is there nothing right and wrong and it just depends from situation to situation? This is something that I really struggle with. I think this is what I meant by personal and professional.
See, when we say personal life, whether it's our parents or our children or whatever, it is not the volume of time that we spend with them, it's about how we spend that time with them. So I've raised my daughter with my little finger of involvement only, but she thinks I've been a fantastic parent to her, all right? That's her experience and that's all that matters. I know I only let my little finger involve myself with her because rest of it was all involved with my work. But with little finger you can do a lot. It is the quality of what you do, it's not about how much you do. We have to raise that quality.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good. I think it's becoming quite commonplace, especially in Gen Z, to do more than just…
Hey, what do you mean, Gen Z? You're the last generation?
Sorry, Guruji, it's just a word that I've gotten off. I know my sister's part of the Gen Z and she's…
No, I know what that means, but what I'm saying is, when we say A of life, we mean beginning of life. When we say Z of life, we mean end of life. When you say I'm Gen Z, it's not sounding good to me.
That's actually… if you think about it like that, it's actually quite unfortunate. Hopefully they're not the last generation. So, I've personally noticed that we tend to do more than just one thing. And given that I'm trying to balance a career in both business and music, is this something that you think is sustainable, or should we as individuals be focusing and giving our all to just one field?
See, whether I can ride 2 horses at a time or 1 horse at a time is a question of my competence, isn't it? If I can effectively do it, you can ride 10, what's the problem? But if you're going to fall between the horses, better ride 1. That's something you must make a decision. It's not about right and wrong. It's a question of you invest your life and time and energy into something. How effective and impactful will you be? Because when we do activity, whatever the nature of our activity, I'm asking you a simple question. Suppose you make music. Do you want to make music that nobody wants to listen to?
I would love to ideally make music for myself.
No, don't get all so complicated. I'm asking you a simple question. If you make music, do you want to make music nobody, including yourself, want to listen to?
No.
You want people to listen to it. When they listen to your music, if they sit here with tears in their eyes, that's a day, your music, huh? Isn't it? Do you want to write a book that nobody wants to read? Do you want to make a movie nobody wants to see? Do you want to cook something nobody wants to eat? No. So essentially you must understand human activity is relevant only in terms of the impact that it causes. So, if you can be impactful doing 10 things, great. If you cannot be, choose what's your competence, right?
Thank you, Guruji. That personally really helped me. I hope this was relevant for some of you.
There are not many musicians out here, it's okay.
So, given there's this elephant in the room, and many…
Who is that guy? You talking to me?
Given all the biking and everything, I think you're a huge inspiration for all our fitness levels. Given the corporate conditions, many people are being asked to leave their workplace. And this is, as a young business person…
Leave means fired.
Yes, laid off, yes. Due to, not due to incompetence, but due to the fact that costs need to be cut to meet the needs of the company's…
Changing situations.
Absolutely. Now in a situation like this, of course, as a young business person, it really hurts to see that, you're affecting the livelihoods of…
Please fire some more people, I'm looking for attrition. I can give a lot of work, no payment, but a lot of work. We are a volunteer organization, we are always looking for people who are willing to work for nothing.
I think everyone seems very happy and that's the end goal, so it's lovely. But how do we… It's a battle between the heart and the mind. And it's a moral… For me personally, it's a moral issue. So how do we reduce this conflict, which is good for all versus good for majority?
See, there are many changing situations, always there are. You said, we got into a different tangent on that. You said, right now this generation is facing so many things. I'm telling you, you are facing the least number of challenges if you ask me. Because never before humanity had this level of comfort, convenience, technological empowerment. Never before in the history of humanity were human beings ever this comfortable and this much convenience. So you should never complain, this generation, what shall I call you? S? That means if you use that, only 26 alphabets are there. Let's call you whatever, 100x, all right? Because numbers are limitless. If you go by alphabet, somewhere it has to end. So, never before these kind of comforts and conveniences ever been there for human beings. Never before food and survival has been this well organized. Unfortunately, still there are many people in the world, there are famines in the world, there are droughts in the world, unfortunately it's there. That is not because of lack of resource, not because of lack of food. In 2012, I think, in 2012, the study shows that in that year, we were producing food, enough food, for 18 billion people on the planet. But we were only 7 something at that time. But we had food for 18 billion people, still 30% of the population is hungry, they have not eaten properly. So this is not because of resource, this is because there is no care and concern in our hearts. We have not felt for other human beings. Now I'm glad at least you're feeling something, I'm glad about that it hurts you to know that somebody is going to be troubled in their life. It's very good. Your humanity is alive, please keep it that way. If you just think, there is somebody who wrote a book, you're fired. You don't know who? You don't know. So, it's not fun to throw somebody out. If we have to relieve somebody, we'll have to do it because there's a picture of a larger well-being. But you should not enjoy those things. That shows you're lacking humanity. Hello? Suppose I have to put you into some little bit of trouble, at least I must have some trepidation that unfortunately I have to do this. I enjoy it. This is sickness. Yes or no? Sometimes we are forced to do certain things because world is not all properly balanced like this, it's never been and never will be. Many times we are at advantage, somebody is at disadvantage. At least you must have some feeling, even though you can't fix it. Many times you can't fix it, at least your heart should breathe a little bit. If that stops, you've forsaken your humanity, please don't do that. It's all right, you fire 100 people today and you go suffer tonight, please do that, it's good. It's good for you because deepening your sense of humanity will come a long way in your life, in many, many ways. But there are ways to settle this. For example, my example may not go well with your kind of business, but anyway, I'm telling you. For example, when pandemic came, all our activity came to standstill because all our activity is mass, people gathering. So we couldn't do that for over 2.5 years. So, largely we are a volunteer-run organization, but other kinds of, labor and there are other things which are hired labor and also there are accountants and this and that which are… where certain talent is needed, we have many hired people. So, the only way was to relieve them because the foundation was sitting there without any revenue. So first thing I did was, I curtailed the food of all our people, including myself. I said, let's eat far more simple than what… we eat only 2 meals a day. In that I simplified. Because at that time nobody knew how long it'll last. There were predictions, it will last for 3 years, 5 years, like this. So if it happens for 5 years, where will you go begging for food? Because I have over 5,000 people living with me, this is my family, close family, This is our nuclear family, 5,000. So, these 5,000 people have to be fed, it doesn't matter what happens to the foundation. So first thing is we simplified the food. And next thing is we told everybody, please, we will have to relieve at least 30% of the staff. We don't want to do that. Instead of that, everybody take 30% cut in your salary. We will make it up when things pick up. Everybody willingly took that cut. So we never fired anybody, we never relieved even a single person, but everybody went down to… their salaries were cut by 30%. I'm saying there are ways to negotiate situations rather than simply blatantly doing things. That will happen anyway. If it hurts you a little bit, you look for a solution. Not always the same solution, there may be different solutions.
It's a great insight for all of us here, to find some sort of middle ground so that, we will… Sadhguruji, you spoke about suffering. When we… it could be anything, right? It could be pain, it could be grief. Of course, it's very important to feel it, but how much do we feel and then at what point do we distract our mind?
Why do you say it's very important to feel it?
This is the little learning that I have. I feel like the only way out is through. But I may be totally wrong.
I thought you heard in the video, I said, the only way out is in.
I know, I heard that actually, and I was going to ask you about that as well. But how much of our pain should we be feeling? How much of it should we be distracted? Occupational therapy is something that we do. There are, there are things like social media and all of that, our work. What's the right balance there? How does one go about doing that? You don't want to self-loathe in an emotion and, feel. So that's something that I struggle with sometimes.
You're not talking about physical pain.
No, I'm talking about emotional.
I get you. Right now, my right knee is in a little bit of physical pain, little meniscus, but my left knee is joyful, okay? So that keeps me joyful. Now, I want you to understand this. Pain or pleasure, where did you experience it?
Where? My heart area, I think.
No, don't… Outside or inside?
Oh, inside.
Inside. Joy or misery, where did you experience it?
Inside.
Inside. Agony or ecstasy, where did you experience it? Inside. Light or darkness, where are you experiencing it?
Inside also.
Inside only. So every human experience is happening only within you. What happens within you must happen your way, isn't it? I may not happen your way, these people may not happen your way, but you must happen your way, isn't it? What happens within you must happen your way. World will never happen 100% your way. Anybody? Your world is happening 100% your way? No, not your husband, not your wife, not your children. So giving up on all of them, you got yourself a dog, but he does his own thing. Even they do their own thing these days. So nothing ever happens 100% your way when it comes to the world. If 51% is happening your way, you have the controlling stake, okay? That's good enough. 51%, good. You try 100%, nobody will be around you, they'll be gone. Yes or no? If somebody around you tries to make it their way 100%, will you be there? You're gone, it doesn't matter who they are. So, you must understand, nobody and no situation ever happens 100% your way. Little bit my way, little bit your way, little bit somebody else's way. It's good, because if everything happened your way, where do I go? I'm glad it's not happening your way. It's happening little bit your way, little bit my way, little bit somebody else's way. But what happens within me must happen my way, isn't it? Hello? So if this happened your way, would you keep yourself blissful or miserable? Or would you have managed some space for grief, pain, this, that nonsense?
No, I would choose… I don't know about all of you, bliss, right?
Choose. Blissfulness or misery, please choose, I'm going to bless you.
Blissfulness, I think we all agree.
So if you had a choice, that's what you would do. How did you lose this choice? You lost this choice because you have no distinction between what is you and what is around you.
Wow, okay.
You've lost the distinction. If you know this is me, here you do what you want. Here you keep this blissful. Outside, sometimes happens our way, sometimes doesn't happen our way, some things go the way we want, some things go right against us, all kinds of things. The more your spread of activity, more things won't happen your way. So if you want 90% of your life at least happening your way, you must just live in your bedroom. There also cockroaches won't listen to you, mosquitoes won't listen to you, they do their own thing, all right? I'm saying the moment you think, world should happen my way, otherwise I can't be there, you will just limit the scope of your life, that's all that'll happen. If you understand this will never happen your way 100%, but you can push it in the direction that you want to whatever extent you can, but this one must happen my way. So you already chosen its blissfulness. Make this blissful, just get into the world and see. Some things work, some things don't work, everything is fine with you because you're blissful. Now, your experience of life is determined by somebody else and something else. Now you're a slave. Now you're terrified of everything. Now, in knowingly or unknowingly, you make yourself into a very constipated life because the fear of suffering. If you are joyful by your own nature, if you're blissful by your own nature, you have no fear of suffering. Only when you have no fear of suffering, you will walk full stride. Otherwise, you're just half a step all your life. Don't do that to yourself.
And how do we overcome fear of suffering?
You don't have to overcome fear of suffering. Suffering is caused by you. See, I can take a pin and put it… I won't, I'm just… I can take a pin and put it in your body right now. I can poke you. You can cry or you can laugh. The choice is still there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Somebody whom you love very much, if they cause pain to you, don't you laugh? Hello? Hello? Your child beat you up in the face, not intentionally, but like that. Didn't you laugh? How nicely he smashed you up he peed on you. Didn't you laugh? Because it's not about what they're doing, it's about how you're responding. Your life or your experience of life is determined by either you're responding to life or you're compulsively reacting to life. This is the difference between being conscious and unconscious. If you're a conscious response, this one will happen the way you want. If you're a compulsive reaction, this one will happen the way they want.
Thank you, Guruji.
I didn't point at anybody, I pointed there, okay? These are all the different ways. See, there are only four things with which we can work. We have a body, we have a mind, we have emotions, and we have fundamental energies, life energies. These are the only four ways they can act. So physical things they have tried, it brings momentary fulfillment, but again you're in square one after some time. whatever is ambition, whatever is those kind of things, acquiring things in life, all these things are meaningful only when you don't have it. The moment you have it, it means really nothing. Most people are taking pleasure that somebody else doesn't have it and they still value it enjoying other people's failures, you know. But essentially, all things that you desire are meaningful only when you don't have it. The moment you have it, for most people, precious things that they've bought are all like somewhere junk in the house. Hello? How many things that you shopped for have not been touched or looked at for the last 6 months? That says everything, isn't it? So what is the way to remain fulfilled? Fulfillment not as a goal, fulfillment as a process itself, as a life process. So when they find a way, that way can only be inward. So in some way, you're looking there, when you turn around and look here, when you see it's so simple, well, it overwhelms them, you saw.
You say that the way out is actually within.
The only way out is in. There's no other way, because human experience, no matter what, whether it is turbulence or tranquility, whether it's joy or misery, agony or ecstasy, pain or pleasure, everything happens from within. There may be a stimulus from the outside, but it happens from within. Whatever you can instigate with a stimulus, you can also instigate consciously, without any stimulus from outside. It's like if you had a car in 1950s, morning you had to push start it. Today your car is self-start, I believe, not your surfboard, but cars are self-start.
Yeah.
So, the question is this: whatever is your experience happens within you. Do you want it to be in such a way it is on self-start or it needs a push from outside? When you find a self-start, then everything that you want is right here. You don't have to run after anything. What you do in the world is as it's needed. People keep asking me, Sadhguru, what drives you like this? 7 days of the week, 365 days… I said, nothing drives me, I drive. Nothing drives me. I'm essentially lazy, but they're not giving me 1 day break.
The challenge that we have though, quite often, that when we go within is often filled with fear, anxiety, anguish, sadness. So how do we navigate this inner turmoil to create inner peace?
See, when we say within, where does anxiety, anger, this, that happen? I'm just asking a simple question to all of them. The human misery, whatever type of misery, these are all different names for misery, unpleasantness. Where is the manufacturing unit for human misery? Melbourne, is it? Where is it? In your mind. So you are just going into the mental space and thinking it's full of all this. No. In mind you can do whatever you want. As an experiment right now, if I ask you to close your eyes and think of a mountain, can you do it?
Yes.
Vividly. You can. Ocean, of course you can do it.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying, you can go to any place in your mind. People have dreams which are more real than real for many of them. Simply because in your mind you can create any image. That is the beauty of human mind, that you can create whatever image you want. So you can build whatever you want mentally. But if you start believing it's true, then generally this will get labeled as neurotic. Let's say you build a castle in the air and you start believing it's true, then you're neurotic. If you start living there, you're psychotic. But a third person will come and collect rent for that castle, that is a psychiatrist. You can build whatever you want in your mind, but you must know it is just a psychological structure. If you start thinking it's real, then you have all these problems, anxieties, fears, depressions, this, that, because you're believing structures that you built up in your mind. You're not able to differentiate between psychological structures and existential realities. When you misunderstand your psychological drama as existential, then there is no hope. Hello? You should know, I can make anything, I can sit here and fall in love. I can sit here and hate somebody who doesn't exist. Anything you want, you can do in your mind, but you have lost that freedom to do anything you want. You have become compulsive as to what you can do. That's the only problem. So this is a journey from compulsiveness to consciousness. So if they've taken one or two steps, they're thinking it's too fantastic already. I want them to walk further, but they want to fall down. No, 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 I want you to… you've taken two steps and if it's feeling so fantastic, if you make the entire journey, how fabulous it'll be. That's what you need to do. Not thinking, this is it, Sadhguru, I got it. That's not the point. Two steps are looking so wonderful, you must go all the way, isn't it? Hello?
Yes.
Say yes, no? Please.
So how do we develop that process? How do we create that sense of
See,
peace?
always anything spiritual, the word spiritual is one of the most corrupted words.
Yes.
Because it's been captured by all kinds of people, because spirits means there are some ghosts and goblins who will come and do this and that stuff, otherwise they're in heaven and they come, whatever. This has been captured. Essentially, let me define this. See, this is physical. How did you get this? When you were a child, when you were born, you were only this much, now you become this much. How did it happen? Just the food that you've eaten, isn't it? It's an accumulation over a period of time. Whatever you have in your mind, that is also accumulation of impressions. Whatever you accumulate can be yours, but cannot be you, isn't it? What I gather can belong to me, but cannot be me, is that so? Hey, I'm talking to you, huh? I'm usually speaking to live people. I'm not a cemetery speaker, okay?
Oh, we'll just turn your mic off.
Now, the very way you are is such that what you gather and who you are is all mixed up. It is true you gathered this body over a period of time, hello?
Yes.
It is true, all the content of your mind you gathered over a period of time. But now you think it's me. So right now, you know, this vessel has become very famous because it's been sitting next to me for some years now. If I suddenly say, this is my vessel, you will say, it looks like Sadhguru has some problem, but everybody says he's wise, so let's listen some more. After some time, I say, this is me, then you say, let's go. Because this is a clear case, hello? If you believe yourself to be something other than what you are, that is a medical case, hello? Yes or no?
Yes.
So right now, that's all that's happened. See, all the countless number of people who walked on this planet before you and me, where are they? Topsoil, oh, this also, oh, all the best. They're topsoil. This also will become topsoil. Hello? I'll bless you with a long life, but anyway you will die, is it okay? Hello? It's not my wish. Because nobody is negotiating life and death, we're only negotiating little more time. Hello? Little more time we want, that's all. We want all our enemies to die and then die, what do you say? All our competitors.
No, my competitors wanted me to die.
So, essentially, what we gather, we put it back, it's very simple. But somehow when we sit here, we think absolutely this is me. So once you make this mistake that you don't know which is you, which is not you. I sat on this chair for a long time, then I start thinking, this is me. Just see how ugly it becomes. Wherever I walk, this seat is sticking to me and I walk with it. How ugly it becomes. That's how it is. The moment you get identified with something that you are not, something turns ugly. Because now fears, anxiety, simply, if something happens, there is a problem, nothing happens, there is a problem. Tell me one damn thing that human beings are not suffering. They are not educated, they suffer that. Put them to school, they suffer endlessly. If they're poor, they suffer poverty. Make them rich, they suffer taxes. If they're not married, they suffer that. Get them married. I did not say anything. I did not say anything. They are only. So you look… seems like you're suffering everything, let's give you death, they'll suffer that. You suffer life, you suffer death, you suffer everything, if it happens, if it doesn't happen. Where is the problem? The problem is just this. We have given you, we means nature has given you a very sophisticated computer out here, but you don't know where the keyboard is. So you keep knocking yourself like this, like this, like that, something works. Many times these days all the young people have this habit of keeping their smartphone in their hip pocket, and whenever they sit, it calls somebody. Okay? Bum touch, not if you keep it here, it calls somebody. Will it call who you want? No, if you want to call who you want, you have to do the right thing. So right now, this is all that's happening with one's mind. The most fantastic faculty that you have compared to any other creature on this planet, you have a better brain than Moombot. Hello? Some of you are not agreeing. You have a better brain than any other damn creature on this planet, yes or no? More complex, more sophisticated, but just see how much misery human beings are manufacturing. If you remove half their brains, they would be peaceful. This is what they're trying to do, this is a weekend, I don't know how you're here. They're trying to soak their brains in alcohol so that…
Peace.
See, if you take away the potential, the problem is always gone. But is that the way to deal with your life? Take away the possibilities, then problem is also gone. So, how do we handle this? The first and foremost thing is, if you sit here, this is the basic program, many of them… I don't know how many of you have been through in engineering, have you? Oh, lot of them, oh, that's why.
Quite a few.
So the simple process is this, if you sit here, you become conscious, your body is here, your mind is there, what is you is a little away, little space. Once there is a little space between you and your physical realities and your psychological realities, this is the end of suffering, because there are only two kinds of sufferings in your life, physical suffering and mental suffering. Little distance, suddenly, they are not a problem. And once you create little distance, the nature of your body and the nature of your mind is 100% clear to you. See, for example, you know, whether this earth is flat or round, big discussion. For 1,000 years we've been arguing about this. The man who said it is round was poisoned to death because everybody believed it's flat. It's just then we started navigating the oceans, we saw maybe it is round, but still we don't know. Then somebody took off and started flying. Oh, almost definitely it's round, but not sure. Someone went and stood on the moon and looked down, 100% round. Distance, isn't it? If you were walking on this planet, doing no other means of transportation, we were just walking on this planet, we would still be arguing the same thing, is it round or flat? Even now if you walk up and down here, your experience of life is it's a flat earth, isn't it? But it's round, we know that now beyond any doubt. See, suppose you just came from Japan, I heard. So, suppose you're going to the airport, you're in a rush, but there's a traffic jam. Now, this traffic jam causes so much suffering. Then somehow you got there, got into the plane and your plane took off. Then you look down, traffic jams look so pretty, red lights and white lights, Have you seen them from the airplane? How pretty they are, but when you're in it… So this is all, your whole mental turmoil, when you're in it, it's like that. If you're little above it, you know the nature of your mind. Dealing with it is very simple. Once you know the nature of your mind, you're a surfer, your body does what you want. That's why you're a champion, all right? There are many people, if you put them on the board, they'll fall all over the place.
Mostly.
Because their body doesn't take instructions from them, it's as simple as that. So, shall I check these people, all the people? How many of you can get your right hand like this? Please try this. Wow, not bad at all. Can you get it here, your right hand? Please try this. Wow, so much control you have. Can you do this? Fantastic. Try to do this with your mind. You want to put it here, it goes there. You want to put it there, it goes somewhere else. You want to put it there, it's gone. So, when you have a faculty like this, if you want it to go here, it goes there. It's dangerous to live. Hello?
Yeah.
So this is why so much fear. Because basic faculties are not in your hands. And if I ask you a simple question, all of you, would you like a sharp mind or a blunt mind? Whatever you say yes, no, silence, I'll bless you. You want a sharp mind. Once we give you an instrument which is very sharp, you must know how to hold it. Why we don't give a sharp knife to a child's hand? Not because a knife is dangerous, never has it happened, a knife jumped and stabbed somebody. Did it ever happen? Not even down under. It is only the hand which handles it, whether this knife can be used to save a life or take a life, is determined by who is holding it, right? So the same thing goes for your mind. If you have a very sharp knife in your hand and you're a little la 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 kind, intestines will come out. Worse than that is happening right now. What human mind is doing to individual people, their own mind, what it is doing to them is worse than intestines coming out, more painful. Hello? All kinds of things. Why? Because if I give you a knife, first thing you should know which is blade, which is handle. If you hold the wrong end, tighter you hold, more it'll hurt. And if you don't know how to be conscious of how to hold it, it'll scrape you all over. So this is all that's happening. When you know all human experience is caused within you, is that so? Once again I'm checking with you. All human experience happens within you. What happens within you must happen your way, isn't it? The world will never happen your way, please know this. Little bit your way, little bit my way, little bit somebody else's way, that's how it should be. Everything happened your way, then where the hell do I go? It happens little bit your way, that's how. But this 1% must happen 100% my way. But right now, that's the only problem with life. This one is not happening your way, isn't it? If this one happened your way, what is the problem in the world? Whatever the situation, we'll deal with it to the best of our capabilities, that's all there is. Yes or no? Some situations we know how to handle, some situations we don't know how to handle. That's about it. Right now, you may not know what is the nature of your existence, but at least you should know what you're not. Suddenly if you think I'm a flower, there's going to be a serious problem. Similarly, see, this is happening to you every day. Food appears on your plate. You say, this is my food. You eat it, then you say, this is me. Ridiculous, isn't it? So will we get it now that the food that you ate is just a part of this planet, the soil that you woke up on? Will we get it now or will we only get it from the maggots one day? We'll anyway get it one day, but if we get it now, you can transform your life. Then you can make good manure. Anyway, it's useful, I'm saying, to somebody, not to you. Please.
I just want to go back a little bit where you talked about identifying with certain things, because when we grow up and as adults, we tend to identify with everything because we have this longing to belong. And if we identify with something, so a lot of people in this room identify with what you have to say. You talk about the fact that, to go within is where all the answers are, yet there's 5,000 people in this room sitting here seeking inspiration and answers from you because they identify with things that you say.
See, we don't want to play with words, so to make you understand this, it is not because of what I have spoken they are the way they are, because of simple practices that they're doing in their life, because it's brought the necessary transformation. Words anybody can say. Today you will hear this and tomorrow you will go. The best things have been said to you right from your childhood, by your parents, by your teachers, by many people, isn't it? Great things have been said, but they don't stick because there is no experiential dimension to it. It is just psychological. When something is fresh, it means something. After 3 days, you've forgotten what it is. This is how it happens. So because there is a practice, there is an experiential process, with that you have realized at least a little bit. That realization is always transformative. It's the transformation which makes the difference, not the identity.
And what is that practice? What is that process?
As I said, we generally call it inner engineering, because we've engineered the world. See, our lives have improved in so many ways because of engineering, isn't it? Today we are sitting in this hall because it's engineered in a certain way. Now, yesterday you're in Japan, today you're here. This is engineering, you didn't swim or surf. Airplane brings you. So this must be understood. If suppose you did this 100 years ago, or let's say 200 years ago, you flew from Japan to here. If you claimed you are the messenger of God, we would believe you. If you say you're the daughter, there's no precedence, but still we would believe you. If you said, I'm herself, we would still believe you because you flew from Japan to here. But today we know you just flew by an airplane. A very common thing, everybody does that, just a ticket. That's all it takes.
Yes.
So, what you call as magic or a miracle, see, 1,000 years ago, if I just had a light bulb, I could claim I'm the messenger of God and people would have believed. Just turn on the light, whoa, the whole population would bow down, yes or no? So what is one man's miracle is another man's engineering. This is called inner engineering. You engineer your interiority in such a way that it's the way you want. At least you should be the way you want. Nobody in the world will ever be 100% the way you want. Hello? You can agree with me, hello? Even if you have 2 people in your family, they are never 100% your way, isn't it? That's why most people got dogs these days. But these days even they do their own thing. When they need food, they behave the way you want. Once they've eaten, they behave differently, the way they want. Okay.
Once they have what they need.
So no one, just no one in your life will ever happen the way you want. This one person must happen, isn't it? If this one happened, if you happened just the way you want, would you keep yourself miserable or blissful? Blissful. For yourself, it's always the highest level of pleasantness, isn't it? Sometimes what you want for your neighbor may be debatable. But what you want for yourself is always highest level of pleasantness. What is pleasantness? See, if your body becomes pleasant, we call this health. You want it?
Yes.
See, from now on, when I ask you a question, yes, no, silence, I'm going to bless you, it's up to you. Health. If this becomes very pleasant, we call this pleasure. Oh, biggest, is it?
Yeah. They want pleasure.
If your mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace.
Yes.
If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this bliss. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Only to create pleasantness in your surroundings, you need the cooperation of the world around you, many forces around you. To create pleasantness of the body, pleasantness of the mind, pleasantness of emotion and energy is 100% your business. Pleasantness in the world, you need cooperation from people, otherwise it will not happen. Getting cooperation from various forces and people is a question of skill. Not everybody can do it to the same extent, but keeping this one pleasant is 100% possible for every human being. Only thing is they have to become willing. Oh, Sadhguru, I'm willing, but I get angry. No, no, no. See, it is that but, you have to kick that but. Yes, but if you don't kick that but, it's not going to happen. Yes, I want to be like this, but look at the way she is, I can't be happy with her being like this. There's no end to this. You want the whole damn world fixed before you can be peaceful and happy, you are not going to be peaceful and happy.
I believe that our lives are a direct reflection of what we believe to be true. So if we don't know what we believe, then we can have a look at our lives because they reflect back to us what we believe. Now, you were talking about if we focus, when we understand what we want, then we work towards that. But majority of the people that I work with through Awake Academy know what they don't want, more so than what they do want. So if we're addressing people's concerns from a place of don't want, how do we get them to connect with what they do want?
See, the only thing that human beings want is pleasant experience of life within and around. Just that different people are defining it in different ways. Somebody believes, I can be pleasant only if I get $1 billion. So his pleasantness is postponed for a certain number of years or maybe for good. So similarly, everybody is putting conditions. Sometimes they may be fulfilled, sometimes they are not. If they are fulfilled, you will realize it works for some time and then it drops off. So essentially, fundamental thing to understand is human experience comes from within. If you don't take charge of this, no matter where you are, no matter what you have, you can live in… See, recently something happened, people who are living in palaces, literally royal palaces, they committed suicide. They're living in a palace and they're committing suicide. Hello?
Yes.
See, the nature of mind is such, whatever you dwell upon, generally it manifests that. If you're dwelling upon, I don't want small waves, even the damn ocean will throw very small waves at you.
Yes, I don't want to be late.
So, this is what I said. You have a huge computer, but you don't have the keyboard. So somehow it's working. Once in a way, it works the way you want. Rest of the time, it's in reaction to other things. You must understand, the fundamental aspect of being human is this. You're the only creature on this planet who is referred to as a human being. Umbat, being, just a umbat. Elephant, being, no. Tiger, being, no. Ant, being, no. Only you are a being. What this means is, if you explore the possibility, you will know how to be. If you know how to be, then what is the problem? Right now the problem is you don't know how to be. So, this problem is because, you know, that Englishman Charles Darwin said, you were all monkeys at one time. Not me, that guy.
What were you?
Charles Darwin said,
Yeah.
you were all monkeys and then you became human. He also said other things, making it very simplistic. A goat could have become a giraffe over 1,000,000 years' time. A pig could have become an elephant over many more million years of time. But a monkey became a man rather too quickly. Yes, to a point where anthropologists are searching for a missing link somewhere. Did you find any? So, if you look at the DNA science, what the DNA scientists are saying today is, the DNA difference between you and a chimpanzee is only 1.23%. 1.23%, not much of a difference, isn't it? So physiologically, that's how close you are to a chimpanzee. But in terms of intelligence and awareness, you're worlds apart from a chimpanzee. So this is your problem. You have an intelligence for which you don't have a stable enough platform. Unless you stabilize this, your own intelligence is going to freak the hell out of your life.
We stabilize ourselves through…
Yes,
Self.
in many ways, you're on a surfboard stabilizing yourself.
Yes.
It works to some extent. Somebody dances, somebody sings, somebody does something else. Different types of activities people use to stabilize themselves. But any activity that you do, how many hours in 24 hours can you surf or dance or sing or do whatever? So this is why it is important you find an inner mechanism which wherever you are, it's always on. If you are doing this with physical activity, you get enslaved to that activity. See, right now, only if I sing I can be happy. I have to sing, all neighbors will have to vacate. I have to sing 24 hours, all right. Now for you, we have to throw 80-foot waves all the time.
Yes, please.
So I'm saying any activity that we do, only if I eat this I'll be happy, we'll have to be eating. Only if I drink this I'll be happy, we have to be drinking. Anything outside activity, if it decides our inner way of being, we get enslaved to that activity. And no activity is it possible for anybody to keep it on for 24 hours all the time. No activity, anything cannot be done unless it's an inner mechanism where you just know how to be. Like breath, it's happening, all the time it's happening. So this is where the yogic systems are important. We start with outer activity, slowly take it inward in such a way, a transition happens where even if you don't do anything, it's the same way. But with every other activity, you have to do that activity for you to get that experience. That's a fundamental difference.
In his book, Death and Inside His Story, Sadhguru talked about his previous life. He said, there are any number of lifetimes which are there in my memory, but I don't pay attention to any of that. I have a piece of life in Zambia, for example, but I pay attention only to that which has been spiritually significant in some way. The rest of it is of no consequence. There are many things around me today which are a legacy of my past, but I have carried only those things which are of spiritual significance. Who my mother was, who my father was, who my brothers were, who my sisters were, who my children were, in all those past lives, I can pursue them very easily. But I will not. I have not even paid any attention to them. Only those who were with me in spirit not in flesh or blood, I nurture them. Those who were with me in flesh and blood, I leave them to the earth, because it is to the earth that they belong. In that sense, I consider only my last 4 lifetimes significant. Vilva. In the early 1600s, there lived a young man in a small village, the present-day city of Raigara, in the central Indian state of Chittagarh. His name was Vilva. He was a wise man who lived a wild and intense life. There is a certain tradition in India where some people call the Budu Budukku. Just walk through the street, usually very early in the morning when it is still dark. They wake you up with their drum beats. Intuitively, if they say something, they will tell you. They may say, for example, that death will occur in such and such house in 2 weeks' time, or someone will fall ill somewhere, and so on. Generally, people paid attention to those spontaneous utterances because they were known to come true. If nothing come to them that day, they would simply sing song in praise of Shiva. After this, they would go and sit in a temple for some time, where people would go and make some offering to them. This was a tradition within the Saiva culture, where this particular tribe of people is also involved in snake charming. Snake and Shiva are deeply connected. Bilva belonged to a tribe like that. Bilva was deeply in love with what he was doing. There was people who lived totally, loving life for what it is. They were not the kind to accumulate anything. They had no sense of money, property or possession. They simply lived, and Shiva was most important aspect of their life. Bilva loved snake, mind you. Snakes are generally poisonous creatures. If you are a kind of who loves poisonous creature, you have to be a different kind of person. To kiss a snake, you must be very courageous. He was a person for whom love meant everything, the rest was secondary. Being alive itself was secondary. That is the kind of person he was. He was someone who could not fit into the social structure and looked upon as rebel. For one of the many rebellious acts he did, not respecting the prevalent caste distinction, he was put to death at a very early age by a cobra's bite while he was tied to a tree. At that time, he could not really call him a spiritual person. He was a devotee of Shiva, but during the last few moments of his life, he watched his breath. There was nothing else he could do, and breath watching just happened. The cobra venom entered his body and his breathing became labored. Death was just a few minutes away. During this time, he watched his breath. It was more of a consequence than a conscious awareness. Bitten by a cobra and left to die, he was lying face down, almost dead, yet he managed to be aware of those last few minutes of life. This was more out of grace rather than any sadhana. From those few minutes of breath watching, a new spiritual process began, which changed that person's future in so many ways. Shiva Yogi. In his next 2 lifetimes, he was a very intense seeker of ultimate nature. Shiva was his way. Both the times he was known as Shiva Yogi. In the first life of sadhana, he died at the age of 37. He had no disease, just hunger, and the intensity of his sadhana did him in. He did not die enlightened, but he died in full dignity. He died not screaming, yelling or crying, but just trying to do sadhana, to be meditative and die. The second time over, he fared better. He lived up to 55 years of age. He went through heartbreaking sadhana, but still final realization had not happened. At that point, he was bestowed the ultimate grace. Usually I don't talk about my guru. He was called Sri Palani Swami and was a being beyond proportion. That was not his real name, but he was so called because he had attained to a certain samadhi state near the town of Palani in Tamil Nadu. He remained in the state for about 2.5 years. After that, he wandered all over the country, enlightening many people. He came to Shiva Yogi in the second lifetime and bestowed his grace upon him, a forlorn sadhaka. When this Shiva Yogi saw him, he recognized that was the Guru. Until then, he would not accept any human being as his Guru. For him, Shiva was the only Guru. He wanted Shiva to come and initiate him. But when he sees Sri Palani Swami, he recognized that this being was at the very peak of consciousness and he offered himself. But somewhere there was still a little resistance because he could not offer himself to another man, he would only offer himself totally to a Shiva. So the Guru, out of compassion, took the form of Shiva himself. Shiva Yogi surrendered. Sri Palaniswami did not even touch him with his hand or foot, he just took his stick and tapped on Shiva Yogi's Agna Chakra or forehead. At that moment, Shiva Yogi attained to its ultimate nature. This contact with the Guru lasted only a few hours. After that, they never met again, but they were constantly in touch. Sri Palaniswami attained Mahasamadhi in the Vilangiri mountains. Somehow he identified Shiva Yogi as a person suitable for establishing the Dhanalinga and he entrusted this work to him. Not in his speech, not in words, but wordlessly he communicated the immense technology needed to consecrate the Dhanalinga. So Shiva Yogi began walking towards establishing the Dhanalinga. He was not able to fulfill his Guru's vision in that lifetime because of limited resources and lack of support. So the rest of in that lifetime, he spent mostly with his eyes closed. Sadguru Sri Brahma. To continue the work of creating the Dhanalinga, Shiva Yogi come back as Sadguru Sri Brahma. He started the work towards this in Tamil Nadu. He traveled extensively in the state and established several small institutions, but his work on the Dhanalinga was centered around Coimbatore. Here he faced a lot of social resistance from people. As the Dhanalinga is the highest manifestation of the divine, it includes all aspects of manifestation of life. So consecrating it involves men and women in very intense processes. If a man and woman sit together, people can only think of one thing. So a lot of resistance come up and he was literally hounded out of the place. He became very angry that he could not fulfill his Guru's will and left Coimbatore in great fury, as if on fire. Those were the worst time of Sadguru Sri Brahma's life, but in some way the best come out of that time. After lifetimes of sadhana and then fired by a phenomenal grace of a Guru, he was quite sure that he set out to do would happen, but he burned with fury because it was robbed away from him by a very ordinary and mediocre people whom he had underestimated. He realized that the power of ignorance is never to be underestimated. It is very powerful and the world is ruled by it most of the time. You think your knowledge, your fire, your enlightenment will do things, but the enlightened are always an individual. The ignorant are in masses. There is huge power to that. He did not do the cold calculation necessary to work in the world. Not because he was incapable of it, he did not do it simply because he thought his fire and his knowing would carry. But that is not how the world always works. The material aspect of the world, the human beings of the different kind, need to be handled as it is fit. Otherwise it will not work. And this is a wonderful lesson for everyone. A lesson I have not forgotten even for a moment in my life. Even if you carry the divine light within you, there will still be darkness behind you. So unless you have created a lot of small lights behind you, you need to constantly turn back and check what is happening. Sadguru Sri Brahma was alone. There was people here and there, but he had lit up, but he did not like anyone following him, so he was alone. Because he was alone, behind him there was darkness, and it followed him and did not allow him to fulfill the purpose of his life. This is a good lesson for anyone, even such a magnificent human being as Sadguru Sri Brahma, who could do things which are not considered human or humanly possible, could not fulfill what he came for. And it does not matter how many things you do, if you cannot fulfill the purpose that you have stood up for, that is considered as failure. Sadguru Sri Brahma failed and he did not like it. He did not like it one bit, so knowing the only emotion that he knew, he got angry. He was always angry, not about anything or anyone, but anger was his vehicle for intense existence. In that anger, he started to walk in no particular direction. Seeing his fierceness, no one was able to go near him except for one disciple by the name of Vibhuti who followed him. Sadhguru Sri Brahma walked without stopping to eat, sleep, or even sit for 3, 4, 5 days. During this time, the disciple would follow him, try to gauge in which direction the master was going, cook food, and run to reach him and place the food in front of him. Step aside and wait in the hope that he would eat. Where would he walk? He eventually began walking in the direction where the scent of grace for him was. Walked towards the town of Kadapa. In the state of Andhra Pradesh, initially when he set out, he did not even think where he was going. He was just walking blindly to cool his head a bit, but invariably he went in that direction where there is a temple in Kadapa, where Sri Palaniswami himself had spent a lot of time. Probably it was reconsecrated by him. So Sadhguru Sri Brahma went in that direction. When he finally reached the temple in Kadapa, his anger had still not subsided. Even after 4 or 5 months, he was still angry. No one could go near Sri Brahma and his disciple. It is not that they did anything or harmed anyone, but they were so fierce, fiercer than wild animal. Even if they were only sitting, no one wanted to go near them. Within a few days, all the priests of the temple left, as they could not stay there because of intensity of that being. Sadhguru Sri Brahma knew that he did not have much time. He knew that because of certain karmic limitation, he would have to leave his body within the next 2 years. When his head got a little cooler and when he was able to put down the shame and resentment of failure a little bit, he settled down to make some very cold calculation. From being a fiery, exuberant, don't care a devil kind of yogi, he came down to being a cold calculation, a highly pragmatic, controlled fire. He sat down with his disciple and plotted how to make the Dhanalinga happen in the next life. Many things were decided there. Who should be involved in the consecration process, where they should be born, in which womb, how and at what time. He plotted every aspect of that would be needed and determined a solution for many issues that would impede. Sadhguru Sri Brahma even decided what kind of person he would be born as, how his physical body and state of mind should be. Everything was created right there. The fundamental blueprint for that Dhanalinga was made in that Kadapa temple. Sadhguru Sri Brahma then come back to Coimbatore for the last time. He was heading up to Bilangiri mountains, which was considered his Guru's Samadhi. There were many people gathered at the foothills that day. To them, he declared, "This one will be back." Now Sadhguru Sri Brahma was supercharged with failure, and having been unable to fulfill his Guru's will, he executed an extremely rare feat of exiting through the 7 chakras all at once. He was one of the very few masters who had mastery over all the 7 chakras and was referred to as Chakraswara. He was only 42 years old at that time. He did these phenomenally rare things as a preparation for the consecration of the Dhanalinga. Though he knew his failure was that of mismanagement of social situations, he was ascertaining for himself that it was not a lapse of his own ability. Exiting the body through all the 7 chakras meant that person had complete mastery over all the 114 chakras. It is because of that mastery that now we can have people blowing up everywhere and intense experience like explosions. He chose the peak of Bilangiri mountains for the incredible feat, as his Guru Samadhi was these mountains. It was in the lap of his masters. Thus he assured himself that the next time around there would be no failure or mishap. Even today, this place where he attained Samadhi and said his body exists It is very vibrant, it pulsates with energy. People who go there can feel it and experience it. The quality of this place at the top of the seventh hill, just at the edge of the mountain, where chilly, wild winds blow constantly, says everything about this man. This is where he felt most comfortable because it is a very powerful spot. If you are a meditator, you are a little sensitive. When you go there, you will go crazy. It is like that because he left them with certain purpose. He has a certain purpose to fulfill, so he left in particular way. It is not just about liberation and dissolution. He used his energy and even his death for the future establishment of or manifestation of how he wanted to be. Before Sadhguru Sri Brahma shed the body, he made one more futile attempt to achieve the work he had started. A certain yogi in central India had left his body at the age of 26. He was Bala Yogi who had attained self-realization at the age of 11. This yogi spent about 3.5 years in Samadhi. When he came out, he was eager to share his experience. But he only found 5 or 6 disciples to impart it to. Even they were not sincere enough, so he got angry and he left his body. Sadhguru Sri Brahma immediately took hold to this Bala Yogi body and tried to fulfill his purpose through it. He did this because he had no patience to be born again and go through the process of life all over again. For a few months, Sadhguru Sri Brahma was in 2 different physical bodies at the same time. In this attempt to create the Dhyanalinga, he gathered a few disciples around him and tried working with them with tremendous intensity. Because the time span available was very limited, when people did not meet his expectation, he chose to shelve the effort and depart with the declaration, "This one will be back again."